What's up, everybody? It's Matt from TDM Style here. Welcome back to the channel. Sorry I've been away for a bit, but I've been, well, being a homeowner, frankly, and doing some home upgrade stuff the past couple of weekends. Also been doing a lot of climbing, which is awesome. All my muscles hurt. So this weekend, we're back with a big one. I don't even know how many requests for this one. So we're talking about the new Odin Wax Cream from Templeton Tonics. I didn't have the name on the label facing out, but you know what it is. So let's not waste any time and just crack straight into a bitch and get started. So Odin Wax Cream, yeah, it's the latest drop from Chris over at Templeton Tonics, and this one is meant to be a firm hold, matte finish, water-based wax cream product. I feel like I just said wax cream a bunch. So it's a wax cream, in case you were wondering. So let's discuss the packaging and pricing first. As usual, this one comes in your standard 4-ounce amber plastic pomade jar. This one with a silver lid and this, I mean, let's face it, fucking gorgeous, like blue and silver labeling. And this one will run you $20 US. Now, the pomade jar itself is it's a pomade jar from a homebrew company, but the labeling, I'm just gonna say it, I think Templeton has some of the most fucking beautiful labeling in the game. I mean, it just looks gorgeous. I love the fonts, I love everything on the lid, it just looks awesome. And with a name like Odin, you better have a badass packaging, and this it does not miss the mark. Now, as far as the scent, as with most things from Templeton, you have your choice of his scents. So the one that he sent me is in his Trailhead scent. That's another, I feel like I just said scent, alliteration. So yeah, Trailhead, let's crack it open and nose in. Pine cones. Yeah, it just smells like straight up pine, which I love. I love that scent. Like, to me, it just smells like a Christmas tree or a wreath or something, which is awesome. So if you're a fan of woody pine scent, you will love this. But obviously he has several other options as well, so you can choose whatever you want. I don't know if it quite fucks me up, but I do really enjoy the scent of pine. And it is not that strong in this one anyway. So for me, once I've styled it in and it's set in place, the scent doesn't really stick around. All right, so quickly through the ingredients. This is, as most wax type products are, water-based. Then we've got candelilla wax, peg 40 hydrogenated castor oil, we've got grapeseed oil, silica in there, which is smart, because let's try that again. So it has silica in it, which is helpful for thickening the hair, adding some volume, and also helpful to prevent breakage. And following that, we just have, fragrance, essential oils, and your preservatives and whatnot. All right, so before we get knee-deep in the demo footage, let's take a look inside the jar, have a look at the product itself, the scoop, and the breakdown. So taking a look inside, you will see something that probably you should expect to see if you're at all familiar with wax products. It looks waxy, yeah. So it's basically an off-white color. It's got a little bit of a shiny look to it, and scooping it out is waxy and creamy. It is super soft, buttery smooth, but when you break it down in the hands, you will start to feel that tack from the waxes set up, and it does, it requires very little emulsification before you get it into the hair. You really just want to spread it out evenly and get to work right away, because if you wait for it to start drying, you're gonna have problems. So with that, let's start moving over into the demo footage. Now, I did test this in a number of different ways, as I typically do. Now, normally a product like this, I would just go for, putting it into blow-dried hair, which I always put in some kind of smoothing product first, just, because coarse, wavy-ass bitch. But, so I did test it like that, and it worked well there. But I found that for me and my hair type, this actually performed the best if I used it as both a pre and post styler. So we're starting out the demo here with freshly washed hair that is still damp. Now, I do go in first with a little bit of smoothing product. As I mentioned, this is something that I always do, so this is just kind of gives all these styling products that I test a level playing field here. And then I'm going in with a very, very small amount of Odin. We're talking like pea-sized scoops here. I'm gonna So I'm going to say that now. You don't need a lot. Regardless of how you're using it, you don't need a lot. So I just quickly work that into the hair. I like to comb things through just to make sure it's all evenly distributed, and then we're gonna go ahead and blow dry a bitch, which leaves us with this. So already we're looking pretty good here. We got some big volume, we got some pretty good texture, and we have what I would consider a decent starting hold. You could, of course, leave it like this if you wanted it to be not, quite as strong. It does work well that way, but for the sake of extra performance, I don't know, whatever. It's listed as a firm hold, so to get to that firm hold for me, I'm going in with another tiny scoop into the dried hair. And now again, you got to work pretty quickly here. Just get it into the hands, smooth it in there. Don't do that number. Just a couple seconds in the fingertips, and then get it into the hair. Now, it is a wax product, and it's meant to be a firm hold, so as expected, it's going to have some tack and some stickiness to it and a bit of tug and pull. That's totally, I wouldn't expect it to be any other way. So again, it's another reason that you want to work with a small amount, because if you take a nickel-sized scoop of this, you're going to have a bad time. You also don't need nearly that much, and it's just going to be globby, so just small. And so here we are with the finished result, and I'd say we're looking pretty fucking stellar. Really nice volume, really nice texture, definitely matte finish, but it's not too dry. And as a wax cream should, in my opinion, it feels very lightweight in the hair. It feels like almost like you've got no product in. You will for a while if you try to run your fingers through your hair, at least for me, because of the thickening thickening properties of the silica and just the inherent stickiness of the waxes and whatnot. For a while, it will be a little bit tangly feeling if you try to run your fingers through, but I find at the end of the day and even into day 2, then it just feels soft and you can run your fingers through all you want. So speaking of end of the day, here we are at the end of the day, and this is later, like 12 hours later, because I fell asleep on the couch, as you can maybe see from my tired looking eyes here. But yeah, essentially it hasn't moved at all. We look basically exactly how it was immediately after styling. And I will say that the endurance continues into day 2. Even after sleeping on it, of course I'll wake up with some bedhead because I had my hair smushed against a pillow all night. But you could just take a blow dryer to it for a few minutes just to get things back into the shape that you want, and then it will continue to hold all the way through day 2 as well. Now, I do want to, it's worth mentioning that it worked that well for me with it as a pre and post styler. I don't have demo footage for it as just a post styler into dry hair, so you just have to take my word for it. But when I styled with it that way, it still worked quite well, but it didn't have quite as strong a hold. For me, at that point, it was more like a solid medium, maybe a little bit stronger than that, but it definitely did have some more like deflation in the volume and didn't have quite the same, endurance power that it has if you use it before and after blow drying. In terms of the washout, it couldn't be easier. Literally just warm water and I'm starting to learn how to whistle. Bitch comes straight out. So yeah, overall thoughts on Odin. It's a great product, man. I really like it. I can see why it's been getting a lot of attention, and I think deservedly so. It's a really nice wax cream. As I mentioned, it does have some tug and pull and stickiness. I would completely expect that. Yeah, so for me, if I want the firm hold that it's labeled as, I gotta use it as a pre and post styler. But still, even with that, it's very small amounts of product. So I think it does still deliver on the hold factor. Yeah, $20 for 4 ounces and you use so little. This jar will last you quite a long time. I like that you can, choose your scent. And once again, I just think the labeling looks fucking badass. It just looks awesome. Okay, and now, because I know people are already typing it out, I know there are going to be people who are going to ask me how it compares to this, the Yellow Label Extreme Hold Wax Paste from the Salon Guy that I reviewed a little while ago. Most of y'all know I hate doing comparisons because most of the time they're not the same. But in just because I can see why people would draw comparisons to these because they have similar end results. I'll entertain the idea. So chemically speaking, I mean, the formulas couldn't be more different. They're chemically 1000% different from each other. Aside from the fact that they're both water-based and they both have some kind of wax in it, totally different. I mean, they have similar consistencies, like in the jar and in the scoop and the breakdown, so I'll go as far as to show you a side-by-side here. But as far as that, I mean, I think that's where the similarities really stop for me. So the difference is, so we're going to contrast now. Everybody wants to compare. Nobody ever says contrast. We're doing it. So for me, the Salon Guy one does have a stronger hold. I mean, this is labeled firm, this is labeled extreme. And when I talked to Steven about this, and I think I mentioned it in when I did the review, he called this extreme because that's what he wanted. He wanted this to be like, here's the product for people who want that bulletproof hold that's not gonna move for 5 days or whatever. And so this one, I don't need to use it as a pre-styler to get that hold that's gonna last for 2 days or whatever. This one I can just put like a pea-sized amount into dry hair and I'm done. To get anywhere near as strong a hold with Odin, I do have to use a little bit more and use it as a pre and post styler. I also find for me that Steven's one is a bit smoother and easier to apply, especially if you are going just into dry hair. And I think the reason for that is because Steven's formula has some petrolatum as well as dimethicone. I mean, dimethicone is used in all kinds of, smoothing serums, conditioners, all kinds of stuff. So I think that being in his formula is 100% the reason why it's smoother and easier to apply. But I mean, yeah, aside from that, they're different products. So they're both good. They're both great products. I'm just gonna leave it at that. So that wraps things up for this video, guys. I hope that you enjoyed this and found it helpful. Please do stay tuned. I have so much content coming. I'm doing a product revisit for Morris Motley because I recently was able to acquire the rebranded version of his Oak Moss perfume. It's called Vergothique now. I'm not going to throw this one in the air because it was very expensive. But I am going to do a product revisit video for that. I have the reformulated Pioneer Matte Paste from Lodestar coming in the mail soon. I also have a great new batch of crusty ads, so expect one of those videos coming up soon as well. So that does it for today's video, guys. If you haven't already, please feel free to hit that subscribe button down below to keep up to date with all that upcoming stuff. And as always, thank you so much for coming by and watching. We'll see you at the next one.